Hello everybody, how are you guys doing? Hope everybody is doing amazingly well. Welcome back to another lesson of English with Ashish. And guys, in today's lesson, we are going to master a very special topic, that is adjunct. Today we are going to learn what adjunct is in English and how to use it in a sentence, when to use it, how to identify it, everything about it. So this is going to be really advanced. This is going to be informative. It's going to be fun as well. Make sure you watch it until the end. I'm excited as always. I know you guys are too. Let's do it. Alright everybody, now let's understand what exactly an adjunct is, and before we do that, it's important to learn its correct pronunciation because it is one of those words that are often pronounced incorrectly. So what is the correct pronunciation of this word? It is pronounced as adjunct without the letter D. So the sound of the letter D is not there. Adjunct, adjunct. Alright, now what exactly is an adjunct? What do we call an adjunct? An adjunct in English is something that is a word, can be a phrase, can be a clause as well. So it is a word or a phrase or a clause that gives information about something in a sentence. But the information it gives, the piece of information it gives about the part in a sentence is non-essential to the sentence, is extra. So what is an adjunct? It is a word, can be a phrase, that means a group of words that does not have the subject verb combination, a phrase. It is a word or a phrase, can be a clause, a group of words that does have the subject verb combination. So an adjunct is a word or a phrase or a clause that modifies something in a sentence. Now what is that something? It generally modifies a verb, but that can be a noun as well. So it generally functions as an adverb, but it can also function as an adjective. It generally, most of the time, it functions as an adverb, but it can also function as an adjective. Now, what is an adjunct? It is a word, a phrase, or a clause that modifies something in a sentence. And the kind of information, the piece of information it gives about that part is non-essential, is extra, and can be taken out of the sentence without changing the core meaning of the sentence or making it ungrammatical. All right, this is what an adjunct is. Now we have a definition. I've written something, right? Let's read it. Okay, let's clear this. All right, an adjunct in English is a word or a phrase or a clause that modifies something. We already know what it is. Modify something in a sentence, which is basically a clause, right? And can be taken out of it, can be taken out of the sentence without changing its core meaning, So it's not one of the needed parts you need to have in a sentence, all right? It can be taken out of the sentence without making it ungrammatical or changing its core meaning. All right, now it's an extra piece of information that modifies something in a sentence and makes it more informative. Obviously, if you have more information, different types of information in your sentence, that obviously does make your sentence more beautiful. It does provide a lot of information to your reader or listener, so it does help your sentence. But do we need it? Do we have to have it in order to make it grammatical? No, we don't. So exactly, but its presence is not necessary for the construction of the sentence. Understand this. This is very important. Its presence, right? To have it in the sentence is not necessary. It's not needed for the construction of the sentence. For its constructual sanctity, we don't need it. All right. Therefore, it can be removed from the sentence without making the sentence ungrammatical or altering its structural sanctity. All right. Now, this is what an adjunct is. We've talked enough about it. Let's look at some examples and understand it. Okay. Example number 1. I play cricket in the morning. I do something I, subject, play, verb, cricket is the object, right? This is the core meaning of the sentence. I do something, I play cricket. When do I do it? In the morning. So in the morning is the adjunct to the sentence, right? It's modifying the verb play and giving information about it. What kind of information? Information in terms of its time. When does this action happen? It happens in the morning. All right, I play cricket in the morning. I play cricket here. I play cricket once in a while. All right, I can give different types of information about the verb play, but all these pieces of information are adjunct to the sentence. That means extra, non-essential to the sentence. Second example, you beautifully organized the function. You organized the function. Subject, verb, it's object, right? You beautifully did that. You beautifully performed the action. So beautifully here is the adjunct to the sentence, right? It is an adverb, and since it is giving extra information, non-essential information, we'll call it adjunct. So it is an adjunct to the meaning of the sentence. It is an adjunct to the sentence. All right, another example. I was sleeping in my kitchen last night. I was sleeping. This is the core meaning of the sentence. I was doing something. That's all we need. Subject, verb, right? Sometimes an object. I was sleeping, verb phrase. Where was I doing that? In my kitchen. In my kitchen is the place of the action. So it's a prepositional phrase working as an adverb talking about the place of the action, right? But do we really need to have this piece of information in order to make the sentence grammatical? No, we don't, right? So this is extra information. Does it make the sentence look better? Yes, it does. Having more information, having related information is always good, right? But do we need it? Think about it. Do we need it in order to construct the sentence, in order to make it grammatical? No, we don't, right? That is why it is an adjunct to the sentence. But is it useful to have it? Absolutely. All right. So I was sleeping where? In my kitchen. When? Last night. So last night is also an adjunct. All right. So now we know what an adjunct is, how it looks like. Not all different types of adjuncts, right? But we do know what it is and what it does. It provides information, right? Extra information that is not really needed for its grammatical sanctity, right? Or to make it grammatical, but it does provide information, right? It does give useful information. Okay. Now, at the beginning of the lesson, I said it can be a word or a phrase or a clause. Let's see that. Let's see how it can be a word or a phrase or a clause. All right. Adjunct as a word. Example number 1. Fortunately, I was there to help you. So I was there to help you is the main clause. And within this clause, we also have an adjunct. I was there. I was there. Why? To help you. So this is also an adjunct, right? I was there. Why was I there? To help you. So this is an infinitive phrase working as an adverb talking about the reason of the existence. Why was I there? To help you. This is also a phrase. And fortunately is an adverb that is passing a comment on the entire situation, right? Sentence adverb we call it. So fortunately is modifying the entire clause. I was there to help you. And this is fortunate to me. Fortunately, I was there to help you, right? So it is just a word. It is an adverb and we're calling it an adjunct because it's not really needed in the sentence. I call my school friends here. I often do this. I often call my school friends. Where? Here. So these two words are adverbs modifying the verb call. I call how often? Often. Where? Here, right? So these are single words working as an adverb, are non-essential to the core meaning of the sentence, hence they are adjuncts. Okay, third example. I will definitely throw a party tonight. I will do something. I will throw a party. I will definitely do it. I will definitely do it. So it's talking about its intensity. All right. And when will I do it? I'll do it tonight. So tonight is also an adjunct, right? An adverb of time. So adjunct as a word. Now, adjunct as a phrase. Can it be a phrase? Absolutely. Will be here after the match. We will be here. We will be here. So here, this word here in the sentence is not an adjunct. It is the subject complement which is needed, right? You cannot call it an adjunct because this piece of information is needed to complete the meaning of the sentence. If I simply say we will be what? We will be where, right? It makes you ask a question, right? So this piece of information here is essential to the meaning of the sentence, right? It is a complement of the subject. We will be here. When? After the match. Do we need to talk about the time? No, we don't. I mean, it's good if we do that, but do we really need it? No. So after the match is a prepositional phrase starting with the preposition after, followed by the noun phrase, its object, the match, right? So it's a prepositional phrase working as an adverb, modifying the main verb be, right? But it's giving extra information. This piece of information is non-essential, and that is why we're calling it an adjunct. Adjunct as a phrase. Second example, Ashok left early. Ashok left early. Why did he do that? To join the wedding. So to join the wedding is an infinitive phrase starting with the infinitive to join followed by its object, the wedding. To join what? The wedding. Infinitive phrase working as an adverb talking about the reason for the action. Why did he do the action? Why did he leave? Ask. Why did he leave? To join the wedding. So it's working as an adverb. Do we really need this piece of information? No, we don't. Since we don't, it's an adjunct to the sentence, right? Adjunct as a phrase. Example number 3. Looking at the pictures of her mother, Joyce started crying. So looking at the pictures of her mother, this is a present participle phrase starting with the present participle looking. Looking at the pictures of her mother, who was doing that? It was Joyce. So it's identifying the noun Joyce. So it's working as an adjective, right? It's looking. Who was looking? Joyce. So it has its subject, which is Joyce. Joyce, looking at the picture of her mother, started crying. So here, this present participle phrase is working as an adjunct. It is an adjunct to the sentence. It's working as an adjective. It's modifying it. It's also working as an adverb in a way because this is causing the main action. This is why he started crying, right? Looking at the pictures of her mother, this made her start crying, right? So this is also working as an adverb in a way. All right, but do we really need this piece of information? No, we don't. All right, the main clause is Joyce started crying. Okay, so here it's an adjective that is an adjunct to the sentence. As I said at the beginning of the lesson, right? It is generally an adverb, but it can also be an adjective. So here it's a present participle phrase working as an adjective. So we'll call it an adjective phrase. Cool. All right. Adjunct as a clause. Adjunct as a clause. All right. Okay. Example number 1. I went shopping. I went shopping for the entire experience. Why did I do that? As I was getting bored. This is exactly why I went shopping. I went shopping. Why? Because I was getting bored, as I was getting bored, since I was getting bored. So this is a dependent clause, right? Starting with the subordinating conjunction as, it has the subject I, it has the verb phrase getting, was getting, bored is a past participle working as an adjective. So it's a complete clause, all right, which is working as an adverb, talking about why did I go shopping? Why did I do that? I went shopping because I was getting bored, as I was getting bored. But do we really need this? No, we don't. Since we don't, it's an adjunct to the sentence. It's a clause. Adverb clause. Nancy will leave her office after the meeting gets over. Nancy will leave her phrase what? Her office when? After the meeting gets over. So after the meeting gets over is a dependent clause, adverb clause modifying the verb leave. Nancy will leave her office. Ask. Time. When? When, brother? After the meeting gets over. So subordinating conjunction, subject, verb over adjective, subject, complement. All right, so it can be a clause as well. You really need to just look at whether the piece of information is essential to the sentence or not. If it's not, it's basically an adjunct to the sentence. All right, now functions of an adjunct. We've already talked about it. It either functions as an adverb, which it does most of the time. It can also function as an adjective. We have already seen that. We'll see that going forward as well. All right, so now let's talk about it in detail. Now, what it does as an adverb, it talks about the time of the action, it talks about the place of the action, it talks about the manner of the action, it talks about the reason of the action, and many more. Let's talk about all these one by one. All right, number one, time adjunct. So when something is an adjunct and it modifies the verb by talking about its time, we call it a time adjunct, right? So it's basically an adverb of time. Examples. Number one, is it not working? Sort of. All right, you didn't come to see me yesterday. You did not come to see me. When? Yesterday. An adverb of time, right? Extra information, time adjunct. I was sleeping. I was sleeping. When? That time. I was sleeping that time. A phrase, an adverb of time. It's basically a phrase, right? Can it be a clause? Yes. I was sleeping when you called me. I was sleeping when? When you called me. All right? It can be a clause as well. Now, place adjunct. It will talk about the place of the action, place of the main verb. John is teaching some kids. John is teaching whom? Some kids. Where? Upstairs. So upstairs is an adverb of place. Non-essential to the entire meaning of the sentence. That's why it's an adjunct to the sentence. All right, upstairs. I can say John is teaching some kids here. John is teaching some kids. Alrighty, the pen is not working properly. There. All right. They called me. Second example. They called me in the garden. They called me. Where did they call me? Place of the action. In the garden. They called me in the garden. All right. So it's an adverb of place. It's a phrase, right? Can it be a clause? Yes, it can be. They call me where we always play. They follow me everywhere I go. Everywhere I go. All right. They follow me where? Everywhere I go. All right. So place adjunct. Third, manner adjunct. So it talks about in what manner the main verb happens or any action happens. You danced how? Beautifully. Asking the question how will get you your manner adjunct. We made it with a lot of passion. How did we make it? With a lot of passion. Another way to say the same thing is we made it passionately. We passionately made it. All right. We made it like it was the best thing of our life, right? Something like that. We can use a clause as well. Manner adjunct talks about in what manner an action takes place. Degree adjunct. A degree adjunct is basically an adverb of degree that talks about to what degree something is true, right? Example number one. I completely changed my teaching style. I changed my teaching style. I completely did that. So I completely. So it's intensifying the meaning of the verb changed, right? I changed. I completely changed. Second example. It was somewhat fast. It was fast. It was somewhat fast. So it's not intensifying the meaning of the adverb fast. It's limiting the meaning of the verb. Meaning of the adverb. All right. It was very fast. Now it's intensifying. So it's talking about to what degree something is true. All right. Degree adjunct. Or it was as fast as what we bought yesterday is. All right. Or you are as good as your friends are. Something like that. Right. It can be a clause as well. Reason adjunct. It is an adverb of reason that talks about the reason for the main verb, right? Why something happens. So it's basically an infinitive phrase working as an adverb of reason. I am doing this. I'm doing something. I'm teaching. I'm doing this. Why? To make everyone happy. All right. This is why I'm doing this. So it's an adverb of reason. Is it essential for the meaning of the sentence? No, it's not. Since it's not, it's an adjunct to the entire sentence, right? I'm doing this to make everyone happy. He left the company. Why? Why did he leave the company? To get a bigger deal, right? He had a bigger fish to fry, a bigger opportunity, all right? That's why he left the company. He left the company. Why? To get a bigger deal, right? An infinitive phrase working as an adverb of reason. Since it's not essential, we'll call it an adjunct. Frequency adjunct. I know some kids are playing outside. They always start playing when I start recording. I don't know why. Before I started recording, there was no noise. The place was quiet, absolutely quiet, no noise. But the moment I started speaking, they started coming and they started playing. They came out of nowhere, and there we go. There we have this situation. All right, let them play, kids. Frequency adjunct. All right, these are adverbs of frequency that talk about at what frequency something happens and an action happens. All right. Okay, we already have a lesson on all these adverbs. You can separately watch them as well. I'll add the links in the description. All right. I sometimes don't do anything. I don't do anything. How often? Sometimes. I sometimes don't do anything. We often go to pubs. We go to pubs. We often do this. All right. I don't know what's going on with the pen. I often do, go to pubs, right? Frequently, frequency adjunct. It talks about at what frequency something happens. Now, types of adjuncts. Now, before we do that, let me just have a sip of water real fast. Beautiful. Okay, types of adjuncts. Now, what do we mean by types of adjuncts? These are different things, different topics that we can call an adjunct, right? That can be called an adjunct. That can be non-essential for the sentence, right? These are different things, and that's why we're calling them different types of adjuncts. Number one, prepositional phrases, we've already seen them. Infinitive phrases, we've already seen them. Adverb clauses, we've seen them. We'll again look at them. Adjective clauses, we haven't seen them yet, right? Participle phrases, we looked at one example. We'll look at more examples. Positive phrases, we haven't seen them. And absolute phrases, right? We haven't seen them. We'll look at them. All right. So let's look at them as an adjunct one by one. Prepositional phrases. These are phrases starting with a preposition. All right. I was sleeping in my kitchen last night. I was sleeping where? In my kitchen. Is it essential? No. They called us. They called us where? Sorry, when? After the party. They called us after the party. Prepositional phrase. Prepositional phrase, right? Working as an adverb, giving extra information. That's why we're calling it an adjunct. So a prepositional phrase can be an adjunct to the sentence. We've just seen that. But it doesn't always have to be an adjunct to the sentence. It can be essential. It can also give essential information in a sentence, right? So don't call a prepositional phrase an adjunct, right? Look at what it's doing and then you can call it an adjunct or otherwise. All right, let me show you an example. Let me show you how it can not be an adjunct as well. All right, so let me give you a sentence. The guy in the blue jacket or in the blue coat is my, let's say, history teacher. All right, is my history teacher. Kids, go away. They won't, right? So the subject is the guy in the blue coat. Is the linking verb. My history teacher is the subject complement, a noun phrase. All right. So the guy, which guy? We don't know. The guy is my history teacher. Which guy? We don't know which guy the speaker is talking about. So in the blue coat, a prepositional phrase is helping us identify the guy, which guy the speaker is talking about, referring to. The guy, which guy? We have a lot of guys, right? We have a lot of people. Which guy are you talking about? The guy in the blue coat, that's the guy I'm talking about. I'm not talking about any guy. So it's helping us identify the noun guy. So it's giving essential information about the guy uh, about the noun guy. All right, so it's working as an adjective, giving essential information. So here we cannot call it an adjunct to the sentence, because no, that's not what it's doing. It's giving essential information. So you just cannot look at a prepositional phrase and call it an adjunct. You have to see what it's doing in that sentence, and then you'll take your call, right, whether it's an adjunct or not. Got the point? All right. Second example, sorry. Second thing that can be an adjunct. Infinitive phrase, all right? Infinitive phrase, a phrase that starts with an infinitive. To plus first form of a verb, base form of a verb, infinitive. I don't know why the pen is not working properly. It usually does, but uh, whatever, yeah. Example number 1. She was working here to help us with our English. She was working here. Why? To help us with our English. This is exactly why she was working here. Kids, stop playing, all right? Let me teach my students. She was working here. All right, so it's an infinitive phrase working as an adverb. All right, second example. Monica left her place. Monica did something. Monica left her place. Why? To achieve her goals. This is exactly why she did something. She left her place. All right. Why? To achieve her goals. Infinitive phrases, right? Third, adverb clauses always give extra information, non-essential information. So you just look at an adverb clause and you can call it an adjunct. Examples. He owns this company. Why? Because he worked very hard. This is why he owns this company. The main clause is he owns this company. All right. Second example. Max joined us in the party, though contrasting information, though he was feeling blue. To feel blue is not to feel good. All right. Feeling ill. Max joined us in the party, though or even though or although he was feeling blue. Adverb clause, non-essential to the sentence, an adjunct. All right. Now, adjective clause. There are two types of adjective clauses in English. Essential adjective clauses and non-essential adjective clauses. Essential adjective clauses give essential, important information in order to identify a noun. They cannot be an adjunct to the sentence. Non-essential adjective clauses are an adjunct to the sentence because they give extra information. They identify an already identified noun. They give information about a proper specified noun. That's why they are an adjunct to the sentence. Examples number 1. Examples and example number 1. All right. Not examples number 1. Examples number 1. Delhi, which is my hometown, is the capital of India. Delhi is the capital of India is the main clause, is the core sentence. Which is my hometown is an adjective clause that is giving information about the noun Delhi, but Delhi is already a proper noun, is an identified noun. Whatever information you give about a proper noun is going to be non-essential, is going to be extra. And what do we do with an extra information? We separate it using commas, and that's exactly what we've done in the sentence. A comma before it, a comma after it. That is why it is an adjunct to the sentence. Number 2, the cops were talking to Jacob, who lives next to my house. The cops were talking to whom? Jacob. It's a proper name of a person. Jacob, who lives next to my house, right? Non-essential information. We're talking about Jacob, all right? Okay. 5th, participle phrases. These are phrases starting with a participle. It can be a present participle, an ing form of a verb, all right? Looking. It can be a past participle, a third form of verb, devastated. It can be a perfect participle, right? A present participle followed by a past participle, all right? Example number 1. Let's look at example number 1. Looking at the pictures of her mother, Joy started crying. We have already seen this example. So looking at the pictures of her mother is a present participle phrase identifying the noun Joyce. But Joyce is already a proper name, all right? And it's giving additional information. That's why it is offset using a comma, right? Devastated by the loss, he didn't talk to anyone for days. Devastated by the loss, right? A past participle phrase starting with the past participle devastated. All right, identifying the subject he, but also working as an adverb because it's working as the reason why he didn't talk to anyone for days because he was devastated by the loss. All right, it can be a perfect participle phrase. For example, having been devastated by the loss, having been devastated, or having finished the homework before time, I went out for shopping. All right, having followed by a past participle in the active voice. In the passive voice, we use been before it. All right, we have a detailed video on perfect participle phrase as well. You can watch it. Next is appositive. What is an appositive? It's a noun or a noun phrase that sits after a noun, another noun, which is generally a subject, all right, and renames it. Now, again, there are two types of appositives: essential appositive and non essential appositive. If it's coming after a common noun and renaming it, it is essential for the sentence. But if it's coming after a proper noun and renaming it, then it is non-essential, it is an adjunct, and it is offset using commas. We have some examples. Tony Lee, proper name, the head of our sales department. This is a name we're giving, all right? We're calling him the head of our sales department, a noun phrase, is getting married this week. So the main sentence is Tony Lee is getting married this week. The head of our sales department is a noun phrase which is renaming the proper noun Tony Lee, all right, coming next to it. And since it's giving extra information, we have separated it using commas before and after it, all right. Second example, did you get to sorry, my bad, talk to Amanda, my sister? Amanda, who is my sister? So Amanda is a proper noun, right? That's why this comma is there. Amanda, my sister. Now, it can be essential for the sentence as well. My friend Simi wants to talk to you. My friend Simi, I don't know what's wrong with the pen, wants to talk to you. You get the point, right? Okay, so my friend, I may have multiple friends. How would you know which friend I'm talking about, which friend I'm pointing out? You won't know. So I'm naming the person Simi. So Simi here is in a positive coming next to a noun phrase, the subject, right? But giving essential information about it. That's why it's not an adjunct. It is an essential piece of information, right? My friend wants to talk to you. Which friend? We don't know. My friend Simi wants to talk to you. All right? So always keep this in your mind. The last is absolute phrase. This is little tricky to understand. We have a detailed lesson on this, so make sure you watch it after this video. An absolute phrase is a phrase that adds visuals to a clause, to a situation, or that it either adds visuals to a situation, right, to a sentence, or it works as the reason for the main clause. All right, examples. Number one, dogs howling. We entered the building to see if it was actually haunted. Dogs howling. Dogs, noun followed by a present participle. All right, adjective. This was happening, dogs howling. With this, we entered the building to see if it was actually haunted. So dogs howling is an absolute phrase modifying the entire main clause, right? Adding visuals to it, giving more information. Do we really need this piece of information? No, we don't. Do we really have to have this piece of information in the sentence to make it grammatical? No, we don't. That's why it's an adjunct to the sentence. Next example. So you'll never ever have to watch any video, go through any post to know what an adjunct is, because I am covering everything. So make sure you share this video with your friends as well, right? With people who want to know what adjuncts are or who don't know what adjuncts are, and you just share the video and let them know what they are, right? So that they have more understanding. They already know in advance, right? Before they get into a situation where they're asked what adjuncts are and they don't know, they can't answer. All right, second example. The weather being cloudy, we decided to stay home and not do ha not hike the mountains. All right, do shouldn't be here. The weather being cloudy, this is the appositive, sorry, absolute phrase. The weather being cloudy, this is why we decided to stay home on and not hike the mountains, right? So this is the main clause. We decided to stay home on and not hike the mountains. Why? The weather being cloudy, because the weather was cloudy. This is why we didn't do that. So, right? So here it's working as the reason why the main clause didn't occur, didn't happen. All right. Now, before we sum it up, an important thing to talk about: difference between an adjunct and a complement. A lot of people confuse a complement with an adjunct. You should not. A complement gives essential information about something, it completes the meaning of something. An adjunct does not. Give me a second, guys. So you have different types of complements in English, right? Subject complement, verb complement, adjective complement. These complements give information about something in order to complete the meaning of the sentence, right? So when you take out a complement, it changes the meaning of the sentence. It makes it, sometimes it makes it ungrammatical, which an adjunct never does. All right, so these two are different things and you should know the difference. A complement also gives information about something in a sentence, so it is also a modifier. Doesn't have to be a modifier all the time, right? But it can be a modifier. So a complement gives information about something in a sentence, but the difference between a complement and an adjunct is that an adjunct gives non-essential extra information about something in a sentence, generally a verb, can be a noun as well. We have seen that now, right? But a complement gives essential information about something in a sentence and can be a noun. It can be a noun, can be an adjective. I don't know what's wrong with the pen. It can be an adjective as well, and it can also be an adverb. Oh my. Something wrong with the pen, so not able to circle it. All right. So a complement can be a noun, it can be an adjective, it can be an adverb as well, and it gives essential information. Let me show you some examples of complements. All right. Example number 1. Could you put me in the group? Could you put me where in the group? So in the group is a complement to the verb put. Without this phrase in the group, without this complement, the sentence does not have a complete meaning. Could you put me? Just say it. Could you put me? Could you put me? Could you put it? Where? The natural question, the organic question is where. Without talking about the place where you put something, the sentence does not make sense. So you cannot take this piece of information out of the sentence and still make the sentence grammatical. It won't be. It will miss something, all right? So you always talk about where you put something. Could you put me where? In the group? Could you put me in the group, in the team, in the room, something like that, all right? So in the group is a complement to the verb put. I want you dead. I want you in a certain state. I wish that you are dead. This is what it means. I want you in a certain state, that is dead. So it is an adjective. All right, it is an adjective. And it's complementing the verb want. I want you dead. I want you in a certain state. If you take it out, it completely changes the meaning of the sentence. Now, without it, it means I want you. It means I need you, I love you, I like you, I want you. This is not what this sentence with dead means. I want you dead. I want you in this situation. I wish that you are dead right now. That's not what I want you means. All right. So it has a completely different meaning without it. Another example is my father. Let me give you an example of subject complement. My father is a doctor. Is a doctor. So here a doctor is a complement to the subject my father. Sorry, I wrote my teacher. let's call it my father. My father is a doctor. My father is, if I take this piece of information out, a doctor, it will not make sense. My father is a doctor. So a doctor is a complement to the subject. I can say my father is really good, really good, or my father is smart. Again, really good is an adjective uh, phrase giving information about the subject, my father, completing the meaning of the sentence, all right? But without it, a sentence cannot make sense, right? So you cannot take out the complement without changing the meaning of the sentence or making it ungrammatical, all right? Now, two important things to note. An adjunct is generally an adverb but can be an adjective. Second thing, which I'll show you, if you have a frontal adjunct, a frontal adverb, that means it comes at the beginning of a sentence, you have to use a comma after it, right? Like honestly, I don't like you. Honestly, comma, I don't like you, right? uh, after the match, we'll go out for movies. After the match, right? After the match, frontal adverbial phrase, we will go out, for movies, right? It can be a clause as well. Though I was really tired, I finished the task, something like that. So if you start a sentence with an adverb, right, make sure you use a comma to separate it from the rest of the sentence, right? And you should know that it is generally an adverb, but it can be an adjective as well. So now you know everything about an adjunct, what it is, how it looks like, different types of adverbs, what we can call an different types of adjuncts, what we can call an adjunct, right? Different or important things about an adjunct, everything. So hope you enjoyed the lesson, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you leave it a like, right? Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and after subscribing to the channel, make sure you press that notification icon so that every single time I come up with a video, you get notified and you get to watch it right away. All right, and if you have a doubt, if you have a question, let me know in the comment section below, and you can visit my website www.englishwithashish.com, where you have this topic already, right, with more examples. www.englishwithashish.com, this is the website. You can visit this website, save this, bookmark this for a lot of topics, right? And what else? Nothing. Follow my Facebook group, Instagram page for daily short videos, infographics, quizzes, right? Links are in the description. And if you have a question, let me know. And I'll see you guys very soon. Till then, keep learning, have fun, a lot of love. I'm out. Namaskar.